Hello everybody and welcome to another Marvel Legends review. In today's video, thanks to the team at Robot Kingdom, I'm taking a look at the Marvel Legends Captain Marvel Build-A-Figure Kree Sentry Wave. Very much looking forward to this, very much looking forward to the movie as well. What are we, 2 months away now? Very highly anticipated. Nice little run-in to the next Avengers movie as well. First things first, let's take a look at Captain Marvel herself, Miss Danvers. Back of the box sports a quick bio along with the other members of the series. And much like we got with the Black Panther wave, the Marvel Legends now come in this two-tier clamshell system. Bearing in mind the last Marvel Legends wave I had before this was the Black Panther wave, which was one of my favourite waves of the year. This one is good, but it's slightly underwhelming just for the sheer fact that the paint applications feel somewhat rushed. If we take a look at that head sculpt, you can see that it's Brie Larson, but look at the sloppy application there. Love the hair poking up. That is a great nod to the cartoon, and the colours they've used, it's almost like an electric blue. It is gorgeous. Really love how it looks, but it's just the edges a little bit murky around the back of the legs there. And again, we get a female mold without double jointed elbows. I don't know why they do it. It's like women aren't allowed to bend their elbows. Love the expression on her face though. We get these fists, which I personally prefer, or we can switch those out for some of these flying hands. Okay, nice detailing on those. Apart from that thumb, I have no idea what's going on with that thumb. It's kind of like the seam goes down the outside of the thumb, doesn't it? Articulation wise, the head can look down and up, not a great deal, but enough. Rotation left and right. Shoulders can rotate, come out to the side and go down, hindered somewhat by the shoulder pads. Rotation on the elbow, up and down, rotation and pivot on the fists. Upper torso rotates, legs can come forwards and backwards, out to the side, upper thigh rotation, not one, but two bends on the knee. Nice knee pad there, kind of cleaning those knees up. And we get pivot left and right on the foot and up and down motion. Switching out for her alternative head. The sculpt is okay. It does look a little bit Ronda Rousey for my pleasing, but it's not bad. But again though, applications around the eyes are slightly off. She does have kind of a chalky texture to her face. I love the hair. Sculpting on the hair is spot on. Love what they've done there. But it's just something about those eyes, just not quite nailed it like they did with that Panther wave. But all in all, you could easily place her on display and she's instantly recognizable as the character she's meant to be. So it's not all that bad. Next up, we have Nicholas Fury. Nick comes with our first Build-A-Figure piece of the Kree Sentry. Good solid right arm there. Really gorgeous use of that purple as well. And this kind of teal skin tone. Nick also comes with Goose, the cat, who I believe is a Flurkin. I believe it's Flurkin. It's been a long time since I read the comic. But the Flurkins are basically identical to Earth cats, except they have giant tentacles coming out of their mouths with razor sharp teeth, and they lay eggs. I think it's like 117 eggs they lay, which then hatch into kittens again. So think of that what you must. I could be completely wrong. Could just be a normal cat that Nick's getting a bit carried away with, I guess. But that says to me that it's a Flurkin, and they've covered his mouth off. I think they even have like pocket dimensions in their mouths as well. I think Nick should be able to just grab the cat by the scruff of its neck as well. And as for Nick, that is Samuel L. Jackson to a T. They've done a fantastic job with him. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. He does have a little bit of an excess shine on there, but he's got some dimples on his face. Loving the kind of shortened fro that they've put on in there. Really does a good job of covering up that head seam. He's very top heavy though. He wants to constantly fall forward. I don't have my Bruce Banner figure to hand, but I'm just wondering whether they've reused the Banner suit and painted it up. But he's got a kind of a belly on him, and it does tend to want to bring him forward. You can see how his head kind of lurches forward as well. On the other hand, eyes have definitely come out a lot better on Sam than they did on Brie. Again though, look, slightly sloppy around the edges, a little bit of flashing on there, a little bit of paint missing on the underside of the neck. He comes with a pistol, nothing that we haven't already seen before, and you know, he wears his threads pretty well. We have his holsters underneath like so, and imagine you could take this off and switch out the sleeves if you had some white shirted sleeves. But all in all, it's a very good looking Sam, and I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this. I can only assume that people are going to be casting this head as well and giving us a kind of movie accurate Fury. Next up we have Talos, our first look at the Skrulls. Our Skrull comes with the Kree Sentry leg, nice big solid boot there with that double jointed bend on that knee. Don't think these are going to be overly popular as far as builder figures go, so hopefully I'll be able to pick a couple of these up on the pre-owned market just to have 3 or 4 of them. Now as far as Skrulls go, you know what, I think they've translated that pretty well into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Still got all of my Skrulls in storage at the moment from the Fantastic Four line. Absolutely loved that these guys can shapeshift. Basically that is the thing of the Skrull. They take on the abilities and persona of different people. They are like sleeper agents, and some of them don't even know that they're Skrulls until they're kind of activated. Love the tats on the head there. I'm assuming this is kind of like tattoos or branding to identify individual Skrulls. Love that kind of Thanos style chin that he's got going on there as well, and I like what they've done here with the kind of wraparound as well. This can be taken off. Use unpeg and unpeg, and with a little bit of patience we can take his cloak off if you see fit. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of how that looks. I think that makes their shoulders look a little bit too rounded, but that could be pretty good for army building if you want to pick up a few of these figures. You've got your basic articulation with your abdominal crunch forward and back. Just be careful because mine was stuck. I had to apply a little bit of force there and I was worried I was going to break it, but head looks pretty natural, pretty nice range on there. I just would love to see some of our other characters from the Marvel Cinematic Universe done up in this green, and they're actually Skrulls. Wouldn't that be a turnout for the books? Nice solid figures as well. Eyes on our Skrull, pretty decent. What a nice little green guy. Next up we have our second Carol Danvers figure. This time Captain Mar-Vell comes suited up in kind of a more Earth attire with her fly jacket, and we get the Kree Sentry arm, this time with the kind of open palm. Same as the other, only slightly different. We get Goose again, but this time in much more of a feline look, and she's got her cradling hands there. The eyes are much better on this one than with the other one. Not as much of a fan of the swept hair on this head, but it still looks the part nonetheless. And of course, if you don't like these hands, you could always switch them out, so she could get into a fight or something similar. But much like the other torso, this does only have the single jointed elbows, which again is a shame, but the colours that they've used are really nice indeed. And Goose, well, Goose is pretty much all you would expect from a cat, I guess. I think in the comics it was Rocket that told her about Goose being an alien, which would make sense. Rocket looking just like an Earth raccoon. Next up is Yon-Rogg, the leader of Star Force, played in the movie by Jude Law. He comes with the Sentry's torso section, again done up in this really nice purple and the light blue, and then we get a pistol or a laser of some description which can be mounted in his hands. Now, first thing I noticed about this figure is he has a substantially large foot base. He is very well planted. I love how the armor looks on him, although it is a lot bulkier. This kind of Kree version of the armor really does kind of stand aside from what we get on Captain Mar-Vell. Hers is a lot more sleek and, I don't know, kind of more feminine, I guess, which I understand, but I think with her Kree armor variant, I'm not sure who it replaces. It might be one of these two, or it might be replacing Genis-vell. But somewhere along the line they do a chase variant, and it's her in her green, and it's much more like this. It's kind of much bulkier, not just a standard repaint. Face-wise, it kind of looks like Jude Law. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but I could do with getting a couple more of these armors, and hopefully they'll make some more of Star Force. Love that green. Really knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Would have liked a non-helmeted head, but I guess beggars cannot be choosers. I actually like him a lot more than I thought I was going to. He looked a bit bland from some of the product shots. In hand, it's just nice having kind of a beefy, solid soldier building character. Next up we have the white or grey elephant in the room. It's Mar-Vell's grey Gargoyle. He has nothing to do with Captain Mar-Vell that I'm aware of. I remember him from the Spider-Man comics and some of the Spider-Man TV show. No idea, unless he's going to make a random appearance in Captain Mar-Vell being one of the 90s baddies that she fights off. I really don't know. Now Hasbro have done a typical Hasbro move and been a bit sneaky. You need to buy Grey Gargoyle to get the Kree Sentry head. So you need to buy a figure that's not, to my knowledge, in the movie at all to get part of the Build-A-Figure. It is a bit naughty, but hey ho. You could also make kind of a demonic J. Jonah Jameson head out of this as well. I do like how it looks. It's almost translucent in places. It's kind of got this stone-like appearance, which is good. You know, it is pretty true to the comics. I love the way the cape goes up and over those arms. We still have the peg in the back, but it doesn't really want to peg in as well as it should. It's designed to push kind of away from his shoulders. Got these kind of pointed feet going on as well, with the bone-like texture to them. And the cape itself is almost translucent as well. I stand by my decision. Don't get me wrong, I love the Spider-Man villains, and he's going to go nicely with the Kingpin wave that I've got. But it just seems a very odd figure to include in the wave, when we could have had the other Captain Mar-Vell, or we could have had some more of Star Force. And finally we have Genis-vell, the original Captain Mar-Vell. This is the one that kind of, in some variations of the comics, he crashes and has an accident with Carol Danvers, and then their DNA blends and she inherits his powers. It's all very odd. And then I think it's Rogue then siphons some of Captain Marvel's powers, and then she gets her super strength and her flying ability. But that's maybe something for the future if they do if they do a crossover for the continuities in the future. Genesis comes with the final installment of our Sentry, another big hefty foot, and I absolutely adore his decal. It's a very pleasing to the eye. Again, using this really nice green, although his head is quite wibbly wobbly. Actually reminds me very much of kind of like a recast of Ares, but I'm sure it's not. It's just very loose, which is quite surprising. He's got his negabands on his wrists, which give him the ability to fire those energy beams. Now, I'm not sure how they're going to do it in the movie. I think she's just going to crash into a Kree. I imagine there's going to be some sort of explosion. Maybe they were testing some sort of weapon. We know that the Kree mix their DNA with humans anyway, hence we have the Inhumans. So I'm assuming they're just going to fix her and her powers are just going to bloom. But love everything but his bands. I think his bands look tad too toy-like, considering his kind of cartoon-esque appearance. But I do really like what I'm seeing. Love this kind of star-speckled appearance of him. Although I think I need to apply some heat to the top of his head, just to straighten out that peak. And now we get to build our Kree Sentry. I honestly don't know how popular these are going to be. Is that his? That's his left. Yep, that's his left. Not sure how popular these figures are going to actually be. I'm hoping that they're not overly popular and that people are going to let them go for a relatively good price, because I really like army building with figures like this. Just need to push those all the way in to lock them in. Oh, there we go. These really are exceptionally solid pieces. They are not going anywhere. Whew. There we go. And finally, I'll form the head. And then we have one very large, hefty Kree Sentry, not to everyone's taste, of course, but I do need 2 or 3 of them. Kind of like an itty bitty tiny sentinel. A good sculpt on there, nothing untoward. It's nice to have kind of a heftier Build-A-Figure again. I just wish that one day we're going to get back to the same sort of size as what we had with some of the Toy Biz figures. That'd be really nice. I know it's all to do with the cost of plastic, etc., but come on, Hasbro. You're doing so much for the fans as it is. Just that one little extra thing. Just kind of double these in size. The head can look up, down, left, and right. Nice torso rotation there. Nothing on the waist because we get it all on the upper body. Arms can come out to the side, around. We've got that upper bicep rotation. We get the single joint on the elbow, rotation and bend on that wrist. Legs can come forwards, backwards, out to the side, upper thigh rotation inside these shorts, and we have those double jointed knees as previously mentioned, and we get some up and down and some pivot side to side on those feet. So I can just see these kind of being sent after the likes of Captain Mar-Vell, and she is going to go absolutely ape on them and absolutely annihilate them. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, the Captain Mar-Vell wave of Marvel Legends with the Build-A-Figure Kree Sentry. Definitely not as strong as the Black Panther wave in my opinion, but not a terrible wave. There's some there that I'm not really overly fussed about. I don't need two versions of Carol, for example. Grey Gargoyle, I have no idea. And even Genis-vell to an extent. But if you like your Marvel Legends and you like your comics, then there's a lot going on for this wave. I love how Nick Fury came out, kind of Nick Furiated that he can't stand up properly. But I don't know what to do about that. He's just going to be posed, or maybe I can have him sitting down or leaning up against something, but that does bug me somewhat. But all in all, it's a good wave. Not, in my opinion, as good as the Kingpin wave, which I also have to review, but a good wave nonetheless. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. I will include a link to where this entire wave can be purchased. It is in stock now over at Robot Kingdom. And until next time, from myself and the Captain Mar-Vell Kree Sentry Build-A-Figure wave, goodbye.